If you are sailing on the Super Legends cruise, this playlist is for you. I'm going to show you everything you need to know about the Carnival Panorama, which is this amazing ship that we get to sail on. You're going to get a ship tour, find out where to park, how to check in, and more. You'll also find the top 3 ways of spending your onboard credit. By the way, my name is Ruben. I have spent over 200 days sailing on Carnival, earning the highest status of Diamond. And I sail exclusively out of Long Beach on the Panorama, Frenzy, and Radiance. These ships are my second home. Even Carnival crew watch my videos to learn about the ships. One quick thing you need to know is that this sailing is what's called a charter cruise. This means that Concert Cruise Events has rented out this entire ship just for us. So one thing that is different from a normal Carnival cruise is that we are not allowed to bring alcohol on board, including any bottles of wine or champagne. Speaking of alcohol, for you veterans, I hear this is one of your top 3 ways of spending your onboard credit on the ship. The drinks. I also love the casino, but my absolute favorite thing to do is grub on the amazing specialty dining. So stay tuned for my video ranking every extra specialty dining restaurant, as well as my ranking on every free or included restaurant. But before we get to that, we're going to start with a ship tour. I have arranged this playlist in an order that, well, I think makes sense to watch, but feel free to skip around. And if you've got a question about anything, ask me in the comments. Then make sure you say hi when you see me on the ship. I am so excited to get to meet all of you and enjoy these amazing concerts. You did it! You booked your first Carnival cruise. Congratulations! Now the countdown is officially on. While you dream of sea days and sunshine, you might wonder what comes next. Now, before you even step foot on ship, you need to check in. Now, if that feels a little intimidating, don't worry. I'm gonna walk you through every single step, including when to check in and what info you even need. I'm also gonna give you my secret check-in tip. My name is Ruben. I love food and cruising on Carnival and sharing my tips and ventures with all of you. Now, before we get into the details, let's cover the most important tip. And no, it has nothing to do with the motion in the ocean. When it comes to checking in, timing is everything. The critical tip: if this is your first cruise, you probably want to snag the earliest possible arrival time. This maximizes your time on the ship because you're paying for the whole day anyway. Why pay for a full day and only get half? There's one more critical thing to know when checking in, and I'll get back to that later. First of all, you have to be ready and know when to check in. Carnival's online check-in opens exactly 14 days before your cruise, right at the stroke of midnight Eastern time. Remember to adjust based on your location. Since I live in San Diego, I get to check in at 9 p.m. the day before. For the best shot at those early time slots, you will want to be logged in and ready to go the second it opens. Now, this midnight rule applies to the vast majority of United States sailings, but it's always smart to double check if you are on a less common international or charter cruise. If you log into your Carnival account, it will tell you when check-in is available. Here's another tip from experience. Do yourself a favor and complete the check-in process on a desktop or laptop. While you can use your phone, the Carnival app just sends you to their website anyway, and the desktop version is a whole lot easier to manage. Plus, there's a lot of stuff that you need to type in. The step-by-step walkthrough. All right, let's get you checked in. But wait, people ask me, Adam, don't I need to collect all kinds of stuff to have at my fingertips to be ready to check in? First of all, my name's not Adam. Second of all, no, you actually don't need that. And that is my life-changing tip. You can go through the entire check-in process to secure your arrival time first. Stay tuned and I'll explain exactly what you need to do. Logging in and finding the check-in button. First things first, head over to carnival.com. In the top right-hand corner, log into your account. If you have not created one yet, now is the perfect time. It only takes a minute and you'll link your cruise with your 6-digit booking number. Once you are logged in, you'll see that glorious countdown to your cruise. Click on that. That will take you to your cruise planner and there, your to-do list. You will see online check-in button. As soon as that 14-day window opens, the button will come to life. Click it and let's get started. Pause. Here is the cool part. You do not need to enter all of the information right now. Just go to the bottom and hit skip on everything until you get to arrival appointment. Pick your arrival time and complete your check-in. This ensures that you get the slot you want before they book up. Then you can go back and complete check-in later. If it's midnight and you just want to go to bed, this is amazing. Just remember to go back and finish the check-in process because you only have 2 weeks to do that. Now, I know that I said the earliest arrival time is best. Stick with me because later on I will explain the pros and cons of different arrival times. But first, let's go back through the entire check-in process and enter in all of our information to actually complete check-in. Guest information. First up is your personal info. You will enter your full legal name, birth date, address, and phone number. You will also need to list an emergency contact. Important point. You need to enter the same name that is on the documentation that you are going to provide. So if you are getting your name changed, like you get married, make sure all of your information and what you enter in line up and match. That might mean using your maiden name. Now, here's a great little shortcut. If everyone in your cabin has the same address, you can enter the details once and just click a button to copy it to the other guests. Travel documents. Next, you need to tell Carnival which form of ID you will be bringing. You can use a valid US passport that does not expire for another 6 months at least, a passport card, or for most cruises that start and end in the United States, an official birth certificate plus a government-issued photo ID will do it. Again, remember that all of the documentation you provide needs to match your exact name that you enter into Carnival. If those names don't match, you won't get on board. You will enter the document number and expiration date for each person. The system is pretty smart and will flag any documents that are close to expiring. Remember that passports need to be valid for at least 6 months past your time of sailing. Another question I hear all the time is if you need a real ID. Now, a real ID is just another form of valid identification like a driver's license. You still need a passport or birth certificate in addition to your government-issued photo ID. One thing to note is that you do need a real ID when you are flying. Or if you're like me, just sign up for global entry and that card, that works too. Travel plans. This part is pretty quick. Carnival just wants to know how you are getting to the port. Are you flying in, driving, getting dropped off? This is important info so Carnival knows what relevant information they need to tell you about. Like if you need to park off-site. Arrival appointment. Okay, this is the main event. There are a list of 30-minute arrival time slots. Another important note. The time listed on your boarding pass is an arrival time, not boarding time. Subtle but important difference. What this means is that the time that's on your boarding pass is what time you should arrive at port. At Long Beach Port, most ships board around 11 or so. So if your arrival window is from 10 to 10:30, you might spend a little bit of time waiting around inside the port. If your arrival time is after 11, you usually could just walk right onto the ship. Here are the 3 most common approaches to picking arrival boarding times and their pros and cons. Earliest possible. If you are the type of person who's early for everything, then you already know this is for you. Earliest possible has the most flexible because more often than not, if you're late, it does not matter as much as if you're earlier than your arrival time. Because they board the ship according to zones, having the earliest arrival time means you get on the ship the earliest and can maximize every minute of your vacation. The con is that you might spend some time hanging out in the port terminal. A surprising pro to that though, is that they have these arcade games that are free, so you can hang out and play free arcade games while you wait. Midday arrival. Midday arrival. Many experienced cruisers swear by a midday arrival right around 1 p.m. If you know the ship like the back of your hand, then you might prefer getting to port right around 1 p.m. because there usually isn't as much of a line and you can just walk right on the ship and go straight to your cabin that's usually ready right around 1:30. This means you can carry on all of your luggage and have everything available with you. You do not have to wait for your checked luggage to show up whenever it pleases, or even be one of the horrible few people that have had their luggage lost. Now don't worry, that does not happen very often. Latest arrival. It is very rare for me to see, but there are still a few of those people who try to be last to everything. Maybe you want to squeeze in a half day of work, or you want to fly into town the same day. Whatever the reasoning, I highly recommend you do not do this. All it takes is a random unforeseen event like a traffic jam to delay you just enough for the cruise ship to leave without you and ruin your trip. When I'm recording this right now, we are in the middle of a government shutdown, and I flew here to this hotel and I had to deal with all kinds of different travel arrangement hiccups and stuff. And I actually flew in kind of a day and a half early just to make sure that I would get here and would not miss the workshops that I am facilitating. Onboard expenses. Here you will enter a credit card for your onboard expenses. I definitely do not recommend using a debit card. And there are way too many reasons to go into for that here. You can also use cash, but you cannot do that until you get on the ship. You need to do this because on the ship, everything is cashless. All your drinks, souvenirs, and extra are charged to your sign-in sale card. Speaking of that, let me explain what a sign-in sale card is. Around 1:30 p.m. when everyone gets access to their cabins, you will go find your cabin. You will see a little envelope. Open it to find your sign-in sale card. Double check that it's yours. You also use your sign-in sale card for almost everything on the ship. Most importantly, your sign-in sale card is also your cabin key, just like a hotel. Anytime you need to purchase something or make a transaction, you will give your card to the crew. You need it to get an alcoholic beverage, even if you have the Cheers program. You need it to buy specialty coffee or shakes, even if you have the Cheers Zero Proof program. And you also need it to make any purchases at the fun shop or the spa. You also need your sign-in sale card when you leave the ship to get back on board. And very important, on disembarkation day, you will need your card to check out and leave. So do not pack it up with your stuff or put it in your checked luggage the night before. Cruise preferences. Almost there. Here, you will confirm a few small details. If you have not already picked your dining time, you can do that now. You can set your cabin preference to 2 twins or a single king if your cabin configuration supports it. Not all of them do. Cruise contract. And finally, the part that everyone loves to read, the cruise ticket contract. Yes, it is a very long legal document. You have to accept the terms of sale, so go ahead and click accept to make it official. You will also be asked to agree to their Smile and Go facial recognition, which is the system that United States Customs uses to make getting off the ship at the end of your cruise much faster. Caveat. You might want to read that long legal document because it has some important information that has tripped up a few people. Confirmation and final tips. That's it. Now you'll land on the confirmation screen telling you that you're all set. From here, you can print your boarding passes and luggage tags. Make sure you print both of these before you leave home. Although, if you forget, they can sometimes print them out for you at port. Now that you have your luggage tags, a cheap tip is to buy these luggage tag holders from Amazon to prevent the paper tags from ripping off or getting messed up. If you're flying in, I recommend not attaching your luggage tags until after you land from your flight to avoid any mix-ups with your airline. Because this is your ultimate guide for sailing out of Long Beach. From parking to boarding, I will show you exactly what to expect and how to plan your cruise with confidence. At the end, I will even show you the one thing you need to avoid when you get on the ship. My name is Ruben and I am not a cruise expert, but I grow my own hair. First things first, when you see Los Angeles on Carnival's website, they really mean Long Beach. That's where this cruise terminal is. So don't let the name fool you. Also, keep your eyes peeled for some hidden ducks in this video. Comment their timestamps below, and if you find them all, you might get a shout out in my next video, like Chris with a C or Chris with a K. The Long Beach Cruise Terminal is about 23 miles from LAX and 12 miles from Long Beach Airport. Super convenient if you are flying in. Remember to fly in the day before. If you are driving, open your map program and type in Carnival Cruise Lines, which is way easier than 213 Windsor Way, Long Beach. Either way, when you are driving here, you will not see any signage for Carnival, which can be very confusing. But don't worry, I will make this easy. Look for anything that says Queen Mary and follow those directions. That will get you here. Now, whether you drive or fly, when you first get to the cruise terminal, you will get to this entrance. For bigger ships like the Panorama, this can be quite a traffic jam. If you are driving, follow these lines. Now, if you want to drop your bags off with the porters first and or drop some passengers off, you will need to keep driving and then turn left into either of these two lanes. If you are dropping luggage off with the porters, make sure you keep these essential things with you. Your printed boarding pass, the required documentation. Don't worry, I will explain everything you need to know about this later. Also, keep anything else you will need your first few hours on board. I have heard of rare cases of luggage getting lost, so bring with you anything you need just in case something dramatic like this happens. If you are sailing on the Panorama, they make everyone park off-site.
What do you mean everyone? Everyone!
If you are parking off-site, after you drop your passengers and bags off, then type in and search for the Long Beach Convention Center, as most of the time that is where you are going to be parking off-site. The entrance to the parking structure is off East Seaside Way, so you can also search for that and look for this road. You go all the way down to the end and turn right. Park your car where they tell you and walk out to the street where a bus will come pick you up. It took me about an hour from first getting to the cruise terminal to getting back there from the bus. So if you are driving, here is your 3-step game plan. Drop off, park, then board. Have your printed boarding pass ready and available as well as your documentation. Stick with me, I'm gonna break this down. You will need a non-expired government issued ID as well as either a passport or a birth certificate. Your passport cannot expire within 6 months of your sailing. As of right now, Long Beach only sails to Mexico, but if that ever changes, or if you are going somewhere else, you might need a passport or a permanent resident card, as well as potentially a travel visa. A lot of people are confused right now about the whole real ID thing. To help clarify, as of right now, you do not need a real ID to get on a Carnival cruise. However, you might need one if you are flying. Now, if this video is already helping you out, smash that subscribe button for more Carnival videos from me. It really helps me with the YouTube algorithm and I will really appreciate it. Before you check in and go through security, if you have a few minutes, check out this area right here to the right of the cruise terminal. It has this area where you get a great view of not only the harbor, but the ship, and it is perfect for some photos to kick off your vacation. Carnival's cruise terminal is this big white dome. You can't miss it. There is also a ton of signage and people directing you where to go. The lines can get crazy long, but there are some bathrooms outside here if you need. Security is similar to the airport TSA. Remember, Carnival follows federal laws, so no naughty stuff. Once you get through security, you get to this waiting area. There is guest services if you need to talk to someone before you get on board. In the waiting area, I met so many amazing people and fans before my cruise even started. All right, this is Kevin and Charity. Hi. Everyone, this is Lindsay and Priscilla.
I'm Del Moose Lodge.
Nicole and Ty. This is Kim and Patrick. Emma.
I'm Taylor.
Jennifer.
Hi.
Jojo. What's your name? Sophia. Christina. There are photo ops to get started because, well, you are officially on vacation. There are also some restrooms here. Pro tip, check out these video games that you could play for free. While you are waiting, take some time to download the Carnival Hub app if you have not already. You are going to need this while you are on board. Usually around 11 a.m., they start calling groups to board the ship.
So at this time, we are now boarding our diamond guests.
So listen up and wait for your boarding group to be called. The earlier your check-in time, the earlier your group boarding will get called. Once your group gets called, take out your boarding pass to show it to these people here. You can now either take the elevator, which can have quite a wait, or walk up this ramp. When you get to the top, you will join another line to show them your boarding pass one more time. Now, you've made it through security, all the lines, the parking, but get ready for the fun stuff. I'm going to show you the first thing you need to do and the one thing that you need to skip. I know you are super excited to get on board, but take a moment to savor walking down the aisle. There are some great photo opportunities, and you can let the anticipation build. Woo! You are on board! The two things you need to do right away are to go to the muster drill and put your phone in airplane mode. My last sailing, I got so carried away that I forgot my own advice and almost ended up with a crazy cell phone bill. So make sure you do this the minute you get on the ship. This video is about the most important thing you need to know about as a first-time Carnival cruiser. This, your sail and sign card. Here are 11 things you need to know about Carnival's sail and sign card. Item 10 is something that most first-time cruisers are surprised to find out about. My name is Ruben. I love cruising on Carnival while sharing my tips and adventures with all of you. I have more than 200 days sailing on Carnival, and I have earned the highest status of Diamond. I can tell you that this one little piece of plastic is the most important thing to have on your cruise. It is your cabin key, your wallet, and so much more for the entire duration of your trip. I'm going to tell you all the secrets and things that you need to know before your first cruise. And trust me, there are some very common and very frustrating headaches that a lot of first-time cruisers do not know about. But that won't be you because you're watching this video. Number 1, when do you get it? If you're like me, your first question is, Adam, when do I get my sail and sign card? Well, first of all, my name's not Adam. Second, you don't actually get your card when you first board the ship. Your card will be waiting for you in a sealed envelope at your cabin. Tip number, wait, but Adam, where's my cabin?
Bruh.
Okay, remember, my name's not Adam. But great question, because that was my question as well. Your cabin number is actually printed on your boarding pass. And yes, as of June 2026, most, if not all, Carnival terminals require you to have your printed boarding pass. Now check out this video if you want my detailed video of everything you need to know about the Los Angeles or Long Beach Carnival Cruise Terminal. There are actually a lot of things that you will need your printed boarding pass for. So stick with me before I get to the fun part. Now before you even get on the ship, you will need to show your printed boarding pass at least 4 times. So keep it out and in your hands. Oh, and don't be fooled. Once you get on the gangway, you actually still will need your boarding pass at least 1 more time. Once you get on the ship, the first thing you want to use your boarding pass for is to find out where your muster station is. It will tell you right here where your muster station is so you can go check in. Now stay tuned for number 7 with the most fun thing you can actually use your boarding pass for. But back to this little envelope. Depending on when you first board your ship, you might not actually have or be able to get to your cabin right away. Cabin staterooms are not available until around 1:30 on embarkation day. So until you hear that announcement letting you know that your cabins are ready, go and explore and get to know your ship first. Wow. Now here is a playlist of all of the ship tours that I've done to help you get ready. While you are wandering around exploring the ship, now if you want to buy a drink or purchase something, whip out your boarding pass and the crew can scan it to make that purchase, assuming that you have set up with a credit card or if you have loaded cash onto your account. More on that later. Number 2, your everything card. This card is your everything card, and I am not exaggerating when I say that this card does it all. Most importantly, it is the key that gets you into your cabin. But it is so much more than a normal hotel key. It is also your shipboard ID that you need every time you get on or off the ship. Security will scan it and check it against your photo. Beyond that, it is also your onboard wallet. Carnival ships are almost entirely cashless. Whether you want a drink at the bar, specialty dining at the steakhouse, a souvenir from the fun shops, or even a photos from the Pixels photo gallery, this card is how you pay for it all. You can even use this card in the casino. You will insert your Sail and Sign card into the slot machines to track casino points and offers, but you can still put cash directly into the machines if you want. When you first get your card, you will notice its color. As a first-time Carnival cruiser, you will get a blue card. This signifies your first time sailing on Carnival. So don't be surprised when people ask, how is your first cruise going, when they see your blue card. For your second cruise, you will get a red card. And after that, based on your Carnival reward status, which starts in September, you can earn a gold, platinum, or even a diamond card. Now, if you have not heard yet, Carnival is changing from their VIFP club to Carnival Rewards. Now, let me know if you want me to make a video all about this new program and everything else that you need to know about. One fun fact is that if you are on a special charter cruise, like this amazing concert cruise event like Cali Country or Old School Cruise, you will get a special Sail and Sign card that no one else gets. Check this out. Number 3, set up from home. Let's rewind a little bit to leave the ship and tell you what you need to know before you even board your ship. And that is to set up your onboard purchases account when you check in online. Wait, you need to check in online? Yes. And this is a very important step, and I made a video walking you through everything here. One of the online check-in steps involves setting up your onboard account for purchases. You need to do this as part of your check-in process, but there are some things you can do that will make life so much easier and less stressful. Now, don't worry, I'm going to dive much more into all of these details, including how to set up for multiple people in a cabin and talk about the great debate: credit card, debit card, cash, or gift card. Now, before I continue, I do want to give a huge shout out to Michelle for helping me with the research for this video. She is also my very first Facebook subscriber and the lead admin for my Reuben's Random Sandwiches Facebook group. If you haven't joined that, check it out here. Number 4, the great payment debate: credit card, debit, cash, or a gift card. These are the 4 ways to set up onboard payments. So let's have a little financial face-off. I'll start with my recommended option, which is using a credit card. It's the most seamless, hassle-free option. Your purchases are charged as you go, and you get one consolidated bill at the end. Plus, if you have a Carnival credit card, you can double dip and earn points for all of the money you spend on your trip. Now, once September 2026 hits, this will also count towards your reward status. The one option I highly recommend never to use is a debit card. Now, this isn't just cruise specific, and the reasons for that is that basically a debit card gives you the cons of both a credit card and cash combined. For both credit and debit cards, Carnival will put some brief holds on your card, usually around $100 to $350. If you use credit cards routinely, this is something that happens very often with many merchants and is something that most of you will not notice. However, I have heard of some holds being quite high. Now, these holds are usually released within a few days and do reduce your overall credit limit or the funds that you have available with a debit card. Note that Carnival cannot expedite or release the holds placed on your cards, so don't ask guest services about that. Now, because credit card limits are usually much higher than what you have in your checking account balance, that is one reason not to use a debit card. But the main reason not to use a debit card in general is because of the lack of protection for fraud or stolen card usage. Credit cards offer protection against this and debit cards don't. But I am not a financial advisor or expert, so do your own research on this. It is not financial advice. Now, some reasons not to use a credit card are if you don't have one, or if you have very low limits and might get declined because of the various holds. Now that brings us to the next two options. This is where you load funds onto your Sail and Sign card. The two ways to do this are with actual cash or a gift card. Gift cards can be great because you can pre-purchase them ahead of time, often at a decent discount, to get the most bang for the buck. For both options, the easiest way to load funds to your account is with one of these onboard kiosks or at guest services. Some Carnival port terminals will also let you load cash onto your account before you even get on the ship. Just know that the lines to guest services can get pretty long on this first day. Many people love the cash option because it can be a great way to budget so you only spend what you have budgeted and what's in your card. The downside is that you have to keep loading funds onto your account if you run out. This is also the reason I recommend and prefer using a credit card, because of its convenience. Now, if you are curious what happens if you have leftover money on your account, stay to the end and I'll tell you. But wait, the ultimate combo? Both! That's right. You can set up a credit card and cash with either cash or a gift card. So you can still pre-purchase gift cards at that discount that you can load onto your Sail and Sign card, and also have a credit card linked as a backup. If you have both, any purchases will draw from the cash account first before pulling from your credit card. This also applies to any onboard credit you might have on your account. Now, one question I hear a lot is, how much money should I bring? I think an easier answer or an easier question to ask is, how much money should you pay for a home, a car, or an outfit? There are so many factors to consider. I think the best thing to do is to figure out your specific budget and how much money you are able to comfortably spend and stick to that. This will be different depending on who you are, really how much money you make. Because there is so much more available that is already included in your cruise fare, you can definitely spend zero extra money. I also know people who go crazy and spend 5 or 6 figures each cruise. Now, I'm actually really curious to hear from all of you. What do you use for your payment type when you are on cruise ships? And how much do you spend each cruise? Let me know in the comments below. Number 5, your own card. This is a big one, especially for families. Every single person on board gets their own personal Sail and Sign card. This includes minors. Remember that the primary purpose for the Sail and Sign card is your cabin key. That's how you get into your cabin. If you are sailing with a large group spread across multiple cabins, it will be important to know who is assigned to which cabin, because that is the cabin your Sail and Sign card will unlock. Check out number 6 for a great tip on more about this. The other important thing about separate cards is assigning a purchase account to each of them. When you check in online, you can either link multiple people to the same credit card or debit card, or separate them so each person has their own purchase account. Now, if you are a parent, you might freak out a little bit about your little ones going on a spending spree with their cards. Don't worry. You are in complete control of what your kids spend and how. As a primary account holder, you can decide who gets charging privileges. The first way you do this is during online check-in. For each guest who is sailing, you are going to set up their spending and payment account. If you do not want them to be able to spend anything, just select the cash account option and do not load anything onto their account. You can also link them up to your credit card and select preset spending limits. This is especially great if you want to give your pre-adult some financial freedom, independence, and practice budgeting. Now, if you are sailing with friends or family that are adults, one other thing you can do is link and combine spending accounts. So When some of my friends sailed with me for their first time, I linked all of their accounts to my Carnival credit card and kept track of what each of them spent. Then after the cruise, they paid me back in cash. It was easier for them and it let me build up some credit card points. Number 6, cabin access. One other thing that comes with families or groups is cabin access. Remember that your Sail and Sign card gives you access to the cabin that you have purchased. That is the only cabin you will have access to. However, many times with groups or families, you might want one person, family member, or friend to have access to other cabins. What I think the easiest way to do this is to go to guest services and ask for extra cards that just give access to cabins. That's what this card is. Then you can give that card to someone else and they will have access to the cabin. Just remember that these access cards will not be able to make purchases and cannot be used to get on and off the ship. Now, the reason I prefer using these cards versus switching cabins is that certain things like restaurants, dining, and other special offers are tied to the cabin itself. So if you switch cabins, you might unknowingly remove an offer or lose your drink package. One other thing to note is that Carnival has new specific rules starting February 2026 about people 20 years and younger. There are also different rules regarding minors and which cabins they are allowed to stay in, and how close they need to be to an adult. Number 7, cash is no longer king. It might feel strange, but cash is no longer king. For just about everything that you want to purchase on board, you use your Sail and Sign card. Want to get a drink at the bar? You need your Sail and Sign card. Getting seafood at Seafood Shack? Also need your Sail and Sign card. Buying something at the gift shop? Sail and Sign card. Now, if cash is no longer king, it might come in as close second as the queen. And that is because you might still want to keep some cash with you for tipping. Now, there is a ton to know all about tipping, especially the automatic gratuities. So let me know if you want me to make a video all about this. Number 8, keeping your card. Because this card is your everything on the ship card, you want to keep it with you everywhere you go. Remember that you need this card to get off and on the ship at ports. You also need it to get into your cabin. So forgetting or losing your card can be a major inconvenience and hassle. If your cabin door closes on you, but you know your card is right inside, you might be able to ask your cabin steward to open your cabin for you, especially if they already know who you are and can verify who you are. Otherwise, you might need to talk to guest services and security. Now, if you've lost your card, head straight to guest services immediately so they can deactivate the lost card and issue you a new one. Once you get on the ship, you will see that many cruisers use a lanyard to keep their card. And if you're curious, all cards come pre-punched with a hole to easily attach to your lanyard. I also prefer these lanyards with a removable clip that make it easy to give your card to a crew member. Now, some people prefer wrist lanyards. One new thing that I've been doing is using these MagSafe wallets that stick to my phone and I can keep my Sail and Sign card, ID, credit card, and other stuff on me at all times. Oh, and speaking of keeping your card, you will need to have your card with you to leave the ship on the last day. So don't make the mistake and pack it away in your checked luggage. Also, you will get to keep your card when you go home. These make for great keepsakes to track all of your cruise memories. Here are all of mine. Exception. Dining. Now that you have had it drilled into your head how important it is to have your Sail and Sign card with you everywhere, let's throw an exception to you. The other piece of information that you will need is your cabin number. If you are booking specialty dining while on this ship at places like Fahrenheit 555, Cucina del Capitano, Gigi's, and more, you will need your cabin number. The same thing if you need to make a change to which dining room you are assigned to. Oh, and fun fact, Printed on your sail and sign cards are the dining room assignment. If you have set time dining, it will tell you what time and which table you are seated at. Number 9, tracking your onboard spend. One of the reasons all cruise lines go cashless is because it is so easy to spend so much when all it takes is the swipe of a card to buy something. So, to keep track of what you are spending, the easiest way is to use the Hub app. Click on your photo in the top right-hand corner and then click Account Summary. You can see everything that you have spent your money on. And if you click in, you can even see what you have ordered at each restaurant. If you are more old school, you can also use these kiosks to check your onboard spend, talk to guest services, and you can see how much you have left on your account if you have a cash account. P.S. Whichever payment method you choose, you definitely want to check your account regularly because sometimes you might get a surprise charge that shouldn't be there. It is way easier to go to guest services while you are on the ship to deal with that charge on board than trying to do this after you leave the ship. Number 10, last minute charges. On the final night, you will also get a printed copy of all of your charges. One of these will be a surprise last minute charge that surprises almost every first time Carnival cruiser. More on that later. But if you see any surprise charges that you did not make, you definitely want to go on the night before and not the morning of debarkation. Because just getting to guest services can be a whole ordeal on that last day and the lines are tremendously long. Number 11, money back. Now let's look on the bright side and talk about what happens if you have money left over on your account after you leave. Of course, ideally you are checking your account and you know exactly how much money you have on your account and you know how much you have left to spend if you have a cash account or if you have money left in your casino account. But either way, on the last night, what you want to do is go to one of the kiosks and withdraw any remaining cash. However, if you forget to do this, don't worry, because here is what happens. If you have a cash balance over $10, Carnival will mail you a check. Now, this can take anywhere from a few weeks to maybe longer. Now, if the leftovers are originally from a gift card, the amount will be returned to your gift card. If you have less than $10, that amount is automatically donated to St. Jude Children's Hospital. So either way, it's a win. If you've never been on a Carnival cruise ship before, this video is going to show you everything that you need to know about the Carnival Hub app. Let's get into it. The Hub app is your command center for everything. You can check out activities, you can see what entertainment is happening, you can look at all the different restaurants, look at all the menus, you can see all the dining reservations, you can check out your account status, and lots more. So the Hub app is free to download. Also, you do not need to purchase the Wi-Fi package. I will talk about this a little bit more later, so stay tuned for that. What the Hub app will not do, it will not do voice calls, it will not do texting, it will not do any of that. It also will not give you internet access. But again, stay tuned because I will talk more about that in a bit. What to do before sailing? Okay, this is very important. You want to make sure that you download the Hub app. So go to the App Store and you are going to look for the Hub app. It looks like this little icon here. So make sure you do that. For the next step, that is number 3, Embarkation Day Essentials. When you first get on the ship, you want to connect to the ship's Wi-Fi. Again, you do not need to pay for this. What this means is that you are just connecting to the ship's Wi-Fi network. So go to Wi-Fi and you're gonna look for this. It'll say Carnival Wi-Fi and then the ship's name. So I'm on the Panorama right now, so I'm gonna connect to Carnival Wi-Fi Panorama. And then once you do this, you will be able to access the Carnival Hub app. Now, real quick, you can use the Carnival Hub app while you are on land. It's gonna switch over and it's actually a different system, it's different things when you get on it. Okay, so you can see here, use the Hub app for free at Carnival Panorama. So I'm gonna click on that and it says, you're connected, you're all set. Okay, so I'm gonna close that and then I'm gonna open the Hub app. Now, once you are connected, now what you can do is you can look at activity. You can see what's happening. You can look at dining. A couple things is that look at what's open, because on Embarkation Day, there are some things that you can only do, you can only dine at on Embarkation Day. So check those out on the Hub app. You can also see things like where the muster station is and start looking at dining plans. Number 4, the features that you will use most on board. So there is a daily schedule. So if you go to what's happening, you can look through and you can see everything that's happening that day. And you can see some of these hearts. That is where you can say, oh, I want to do this. So for example, the champagne art auction, that is coming up in about an hour. If I put a heart next to it, I will get a notification on about 10 minutes before it happens just to remind me that's happening. And what you can also do is you can go to My Planner and you can see all of the things that you've hearted, so you can just kind of know what your day looks like in advance. One other thing that I love to do in advance if you're a planner is go to Food and Drinks and you can see all of the restaurants that are available. I'll talk about checking in later. You can see all the restaurants that are available and you can look at what food options there are, right? So you can see here, this is the Your Time Dining restaurant. I click on main menu. Tonight is fancy night, it's elegant night. So I can look at the entire menu and I can see what's happening, so I can pick out everything that I want to eat beforehand. The other cool thing is if you swipe and you can go to Tuesday, that's tomorrow, I can now go and I can look at the food of what's happening tomorrow. So let's see, so I go down, I can see, oops, where is it? I can now see the restaurant, Your Time Dining view menu, and I can see the appetizers. I can see everything that they have on the menu, so I can figure out what I want to eat and where. Oftentimes I will use this to figure out if I want to do specialty dining and which nights. The other thing that they just started doing at Carnival is something called Express Time Dining. So for Express Your Time Dining, this is a quick where you can get in and out from the time you sit down. It takes about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. This is great, especially if you want to go see shows or comedy, something like that, and you've kind of figured out, and again, this is why using the Hub app is so great. You can see what you want to do and when, and to kind of figure out what you're going to do and when you're going to do all these activities. Okay, now as you are looking at all the restaurants, one of the things that you want to be aware of and know about is checking in. Who, why, what, when, and where of that. So first of all, it is definitely recommended for you to check in using the Hub app. Now, of course, some people say you don't need to. Right. You do not need to check in. However, it's recommended and it's helpful not only for you, but also for the crew, for the staff. And here's why. So that is because either way, you get checked in. Yes, you can walk all the way down to the anytime. Oh, sorry. You only need to check in if you have Your Time Dining. If you have set time dining, you always go at the same time. You do not need to check in. However, if you want to go to breakfast or C-Day brunch, you will need to check in. Now again, the reason you check in is this. First of all, it's easy. You come in and then you can go, so let's see, for C-Day brunch, I actually can't check in right now because I already checked in, but you can go check in and you can check in from anywhere and you will get notified when your table is ready. So this means you can hang out in your cabin. You don't have to walk all the way down there. Now, we will say this is, if you want to, you can definitely walk all the way down to the main dining restaurant. You can ask the table host to check in for you. You still get checked in anyway. They do that, and then you need to wait around even more because now you're checked in when you could have checked yourself in earlier. Now, one thing about checking in is that you can check in all the people that you are friends with. So if you go into contacts, you can add people who are in your group. You can find people, so you do this by going to contacts and then you search, I guess, by name. And then once you do that, you will see them when you go to check in, and you can check in up to, I think it's 6 people. If you've got a party, 6, maybe 8. If you've got a party bigger than that, then you will need to go talk to the restaurant host to be able to check in bigger parties for that. When? you will get, so again, once you get checked in, you will get notified on the Hub app, one, that you've checked in, but two, when your table's ready. This is great. So if you want to go chill up at the casino, somewhere else, at a bar, you can wait and then you will get notified when your table is ready. The other thing is that it will tell you where to go. So a lot of these ships have two-story or decks. The main dining room is on two different decks. So it'll tell you which deck to go to. It might be deck 3, it might be deck 4. So this just makes it easier so you know where to go. It'll also tell you your table number. So show the Hub app to the table host so they know where to walk you for your table. Okay, one other really cool thing that they've started doing on the Carnival Hub app is doing water shuttle passes. So for a lot of the more popular ports where they have to anchor and they can't kind of go right up to the dock, is that they will anchor offshore and they will use water shuttle taxis to get you from the ship to shore. So these kind of what's called a tender port, we used to have to wait in line to do that. Some people would get there like an hour earlier just to get some of the earliest passes. Now you don't have to do that. You can use the Hub app to do that. So now if you go to open your Hub app and you scroll down to port passes, I'm actually going to do this right now. So go to port arrivals and you can see water shuttle service for Cabo San Lucas. I'm going to click on that. And then now you can pick make reservation. Again, all the people in your party you can select. So I'm going to confirm for me. And then now you can pick your time. So I'm going to pick the earliest available time. And then now I'm in group 7. So now that I make the reservation, when the cruise director will announce when your group is boarding for the water shuttles, then you can make your way down and go do that. Please just make sure and understand that that area down there can get really crowded, whether you are walking off the ship or you have to take the water shuttle. Please don't go down there until they call your group. It just makes it a lot easier. The flow works better, so you can wait, and then on the Hub app, it will tell you when your group is ready. A couple things to note about that is that if you have booked a Carnival-based excursion, you do not need to go through that process because you will already have priority tender. Same thing if you have status like Platinum or Diamond, you will get in, or Faster to the Fun or Suite Guests, you already have priority and you will find out all the details about that. Okay, the other thing that you can do with the Hub app is schedule debarkation. So I'm going to talk about it real quick. Let me know if you want me to do a video all about debarkation in that whole process. So again, you're going to go into port passes and see end of voyage debark, and you can do ship debarkation, and then you can pick how you want to debark the ship. Essentially, there are two main ways to do this. One is self-assist and the other is checked bags. So checked luggage means that the night before your last day, you will pack up everything, you will put your bags outside, you will put some tags on it, and then that way the porters will take your bags down and you'll collect that when you leave. So that's one option. The other option is express debarkation, or that is when you carry off everything yourself. This is also called self-assist. So I'm going to do express debarkation because for me, it's faster and I like having all my stuff. I don't want to pack everything the night before. So I'm going to schedule express debarkation. Again, I'm going to select myself. You can select if someone needs assistance, and then you can pick your time of when you are going to debark. And again, just like with the water shuttle passes, you will be put into a group. So I'm in group C, and they will tell you when your group is ready to debark. So don't go down to the area yet. Hang out in the waiting areas. That's usually on deck 5, deck 4, deck 5, deck 10, kind of the Lido deck. Hang out in those areas and wait for your group to be called before heading down for debarkation. Okay, one other really good thing to know about is account summary. So if you scroll down under account summary, you can see this. Right now you can see I've got $105 in charges. So that was $5 for the chat plan. I will talk about this in a little bit. Don't worry, I'll explain that. And then also I've got $100 I had charged from the casino. I charge $100 to my cabin just so I can play in the casino. Fun tip, if you do this and you play a little bit, you can cash out. So it's kind of a nice way to get around using the ATM and getting charged those fees. Just know that your account might get flagged, so you want to be careful when doing this. Okay, so account summary. The important thing to note for this is to check that frequently, especially before you leave the ship. It is way easier for you to go to guest services and ask them because something happened and you need to have them take a charge off your account. It's way easier to do that on board versus once you leave the ship. So check that, make sure everything is good before you leave the ship. Number 5, the messaging or chat feature. Okay, so I promised that I would tell you about this, and here it is. So on the app, you are able to message each other. So this is a great feature. You do have to pay for it. It's only $5 per user, and this is for the entire duration of your sailing. And each person who wants to chat does need to pay for this. So if you are in a big group, maybe decide beforehand if you want to use the chat or if you're going to purchase internet. And I will tell you more about that later. Now, for the chat plan, again, you can go to contacts, you can add someone so that you can chat with them, and then your conversations, you can kind of click the thing, you can start a new conversation, and you can chat and talk to people. This is a great way, that's a very low cost way to keep in touch, to talk to other people, especially family members, other people in your party that you need to get in contact with. The other thing is you can also use the phone that you can call people, but hey, how often are you really in your cabin? So using the chat feature can be really handy. Now, one question I get asked a lot is, do you need the internet package? Great question. Let's talk about that next. Internet plans versus the Hub app. Okay, first of all, you do not need to purchase the internet or Wi-Fi plan to use the Carnival Hub app. You can use it for free, which is amazing. Now, remember that when you have the Carnival Hub app, that does not give you access to the internet. So if you want to browse social media, if you want to stream, if you want to listen to music, all of those, use an app, all of those things, Duolingo, those things you do need to purchase an internet plan for. I think one thing that confuses a lot of people is that people commonly call them, oh, I've bought Wi-Fi. I guess it's easier if you call it an internet plan because what you're technically purchasing isn't the Wi-Fi. You can already access you can connect to the ship's Wi-Fi for free, but that does not give you internet access. What you are purchasing is the ability to access the internet from your Wi-Fi connection. Here's a hack. A lot of you have noticed that your notifications will work. This is due to the way phone operating systems work. So you will get kind of the notifications, basically whatever shows up in that little snippet you can get. You won't get the full message. You will get like a little email preview, a little text preview. Now, some people have found that especially with like iMessage, iPhones, you can text back and forth. Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't. So one hack you can do is see if that works, and then let's say you can wait for an important notification and then purchase internet to be able to use it then. Common first-timer mistakes. Here are some very common first-timer mistakes. The first one is not using the Hub app. So many people do not even know about the Hub app, what it does or how to use it. But don't worry, because you guys are watching this video, because you are subscribed to this channel, you won't have that problem. Another common mistake I've seen is not being connected to this ship's Wi-Fi. So again, you need to look onto the Wi-Fi, you need to connect to it. It'll say Carnival Wi-Fi and then the ship name. So like Carnival Wi-Fi Panorama, Carnival Wi-Fi Firenze, and make sure you are connected to that. Power tips. Here are a few power tips that even if you are a seasoned cruiser, you might not know about. The first one is this: notifications are hit and miss. When you book dining and you're waiting to be notified on when your table's ready, those notifications can be hit or miss. I've been sitting down at dinner and have my notification pop up saying my table's ready. So one way to get around this is to open your Hub app and then just kind of refresh it and see this. What I found is that oftentimes you will get the notification while the Hub app is open, but not when it's closed. Now, if the Hub app is not working, let's say you get a message, you're not able to use the chat feature, whatever it is, try closing the app and reopening it. Now, if that doesn't work, here's the kind of power user fix. And this requires uninstalling the app and then reinstalling it. So this doesn't always work, and especially if you do not have the internet package, it might be easier for you to go to guest services and they can walk you through that and make sure that you are actually able to re-download the app. Now, if you have the internet package, here's a great hack. They will try to connect to the internet using the Hub app, which you totally can. So you scroll down all the way, you go to internet packages, and it will bring you here. Now, I just skip that whole step and go to login.com because that's where it takes you. So if you go to login.com, here's how you actually access the internet. You put in your folio number, so I'm going to put in mine, and then you're going to put in your date of birth, and then you're going to connect. One really cool tip is that if you want to share your internet access with your friends, your family, something like that, all you need is to know that information, and then this screen will show up where it says account already in use. Now all you do is hit switch devices, and then voila, it will switch, and then that device will now have internet access. So I do this, I switch among my laptop, my few different phones, and it's a really easy way to be able to use internet access among multiple devices without having to pay that really big charge for that. Okay, so I want to know, what are your power user tips? Let me know how you use the Hub app. Tell me your power tips, your tricks, if you have any questions, and then watch this next video here. Is the Carnival Panorama cruise ship actually worth it? Let's find out with a full ship tour in under 10 minutes. Let's check out the food, the bars, the entertainment, and the one thing that no other cruise ship in the world has. My name is Ruben, and I am not a cruise expert, but I have watched that new Netflix Carnival documentary.
We just love going on cruises. The food, the pool, the water slide. I mean, what more could you ask?
Anywho, onto the Carnival Panorama. Once you board, you are welcomed by this amazing grand atrium. It spans 3 decks tall with a glowing LED pillar in the middle above the atrium bar. Guest services and Carnival Adventures are also nearby. The Horizon restaurant is your spot if you have early or late dining. You also come here for official Carnival excursions and chef's table. It is also one of the muster stations. I like to do the muster briefing and drill the first thing on board because, well, we can't leave until everyone does it. Okay, let's rewind a little bit and show you how I got here. The Carnival Panorama sails out of Long Beach, California. Everyone who sails on this ship needs to park off-site unless you get dropped off. And even getting dropped off can have a huge line sometimes. After arriving to the port at 10:15 a.m., it took me a full hour just to get through the line to drop off my luggage. By the time I took the bus back, got through security, and got on the ship, it was nearly 2 hours for me to get on board. So, pro tip, if you are flying in, arrive the day before. If you're taking an Uber, ask them to drop you off at the Queen Mary to skip the crazy line. And if you're driving, come earlier or later to beat this crazy rush. One last pro tip is to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications if this video has already been helpful for you. And so that you make sure you get all my latest Carnival cruising tours, tips, tricks, and reviews. Now let's talk about food because I love food. Let's start with my favorite, but stick around to the end to find out the hidden restaurant most cruisers don't know about. Guy's Burger Joint. Up on deck 10 on the Lido deck is Guy's Burger Joint. Guy's is my favorite fast casual restaurant on board. If you really want to level up your game, get a pretzel bun from the Lido Deli and make your own pretzel burger. Blue Iguana Cantina. Also on deck 10, across from Guy's, you can get your Mexican food fix here. Cucina del Capitano is up on deck 11 for Italian. It is an extra fee for dinner or free for lunch. Seafood Shack is on deck 10 for another specialty dining upcharge that has some great seafood. Pizzeria del Capitano is on deck 10 across from Seafood Shack and has some great thin crust pizza. Sadly, they close at midnight now. But starting at 11:30 p.m., the Lido Buffet now has a midnight buffet as well. You can also come here for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. Even though they are usually open, I only come here for the gelato, which is amazing. Everything else is pretty meh. Okay, so every other cruise line in the world has a Lido Buffet and more food than you can handle. But what's the one thing that the Carnival Panorama has that no other cruise ship in the world has? Well, to find out, you'll have to stay tuned to the end for that. But while you wait, let's check out the other main dining restaurant, or MDR, which is down on deck 3 and 4 aft, which means the back, for my time dining, which means you get to choose when you want to eat. Pro tip, before you walk all the way over here for dinner, open the Carnival Hub app and check in first. You have to do this no matter who you are to get seated, so you might as well do this from the comfort of your cabin or wherever else you are on the ship, because you will get notified when your table is ready. Now, right above the MDR on deck 5 is the Java Blue Cafe for coffee, milkshakes, and some sweet treats. Further forward is Pig and Anchor Brewhouse. They have both paid specialty dining and a free lunch, but only on embarkation and sea days. This free lunch was way better than I have had on the Radiance or Forensic. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a review comparing the Radiance, Forensic, and the Panorama. Then there's 3 more specialty restaurants going forward: Fahrenheit 555 Steakhouse, Bonsai Sushi, and Bonsai Teppanyaki. But the one hidden restaurant that most cruisers miss, well, it's Gigi's Asian Kitchen up on deck 11 above the buffet. Now, lunch is free, but dinner is a paid upcharge. I will say it is absolutely incredible. Their pork belly appetizer is a 10.2 out of 10. If you are on a liquid diet, let's talk about the bars and lounges. My last tip will show you how to get free booze, so stay tuned for that. Starting off is the Atrium Bar on deck 3. Heroes Tribute Bar is on deck 4 mid. The Piano Bar is only open later for drinks and entertainment, and that's on deck 5. Right across the hall is the Alchemy Bar, which is one of my favorites for cocktails. Go aft a little bit and you'll hit Guy's Pig and Anchor Brewhouse, where you can get some fresh brewed beer. All the way aft is the Havana Bar, with really chill vibes, live music, dancing, and just fun hanging out. All the way up on deck 10, the Lido deck, is the Blue Iguana and Red Frog Rum Bar. Aft on deck 10 is the Tides Bar, that's close to this aft pool. There's another bar in the Serenity Adults Only area up on deck 15 forward. But where do you go to get free booze? Look for liquor tasting events in the shops. Sometimes shopping events like shopping for watches or art auctions also have free alcohol, just like the Captain's Toast. But what's the one thing that the Carnival Panorama has that no other cruise ship in the world has? Stay tuned for that answer. The one thing that the Panorama does have is these smart elevators. You pick the floor before you get in, and then you look for your assigned elevator and you get inside. Now, elevators are one way to get back to your cabin. I made a video checking out every single style of cabin, and you can watch that video here. Now for the heart of the ship, the Lido deck up on decks 10 and above. It's where everything happens. You've got pool parties, movies under the stars, the incredible sail away party, towel animal takeovers, silent disco party, 80s glow night. They are all a blast, and the 3-level layout is amazing for people watching. But where do you go if you just want to chill and relax? Well, the Serenity deck on deck 15-4 is adults only, with some loungers, 2 hot tubs, and fresh creations with some healthy salads on sea days. Cloud9 Spa is on deck 12-4, and it's your go-to for spa relaxation, spa treatments like facials, massages, hair blowouts, or getting your nails did. For you quieter folks, there is a library on deck 5 that's a quiet spot to relax, play games, or just read and hang out. Okay, but what about the entertainment? Well, the Liquid Lounge is where you will go to catch the big shows on decks 4 and 5-4. Also on deck 4 is the casino, where you can try to win it big or try to get some casino comps for your next cruise. For those of you who have asked, the Panorama is the last Long Beach ship to sail with an electronic poker table. You can often find me there, and that is in the Heroes Bar, not in the main casino. Ocean Plaza also has trivia, karaoke, and live music on deck 5, kind of aftish. Limelight Lounge brings the comedy, late night dancing on deck 4 aft. What about outdoor fun? There's also that. You've got Sky Ride, Ropes Course, Waterworks water slides, basketball, mini golf, even a jogging track. But what's this one thing the Carnival Panorama has that no other cruise ship in the world has? Well, that's Sky Zone, a full-on trampoline park at sea. As we check out each cabin, let me know in the comments below if you would book it or not. Interior cabin. Let's start this tour with the cheapest cabin. These are interior cabins and provide you with all the basics. You get 2 twin beds that could usually be pushed together to make a king. Panorama interior cabins are 160 or 170 square feet. All cabins. No matter which cabin you get, they all have at least one table with various electrical outlets for both 110 and 220 power, a cooler that is not technically a refrigerator but is pretty handy, 2 closets, and a bathroom. Bathrooms all have a shower, sink, and come with soap, body wash, and shampoo. If you are particular about what brand you use, you might want to bring your own. If you want a tour of the entire Carnival Panorama to see all of her quirks and features, check out this video here. Guaranteed cabin. Okay, let's settle this right now. I never recommend getting a guaranteed cabin. A guaranteed cabin is where you save really only a few dollars and let Carnival pick your cabin for you. Other than saving a few dollars, some people have gotten better cabins by doing this, but the downside can be huge. I have heard of people getting bumped from their cruise altogether because they got a guaranteed cabin and the cruise ship overbooked. Porthole cabin. Porthole cabins are the same size as interior cabins, but add this cute little window to the outside and a couch that converts to a bed. Ocean view cabin. Ocean view cabins are a little bit larger at 220 square feet and have a window to the outside world. These cabins also have a couch that converts to a bed. Family Harbor cabin. These cabins come with access to the special Family Harbor area on deck 2. Deluxe Ocean View Family Cabin. These cabins are a tiny bit bigger at 230 square feet and have a second bathroom with a sink and tub. Cloud9 Spa Cabin. The Cloud9 Spa Cabin is where you get access to spa facilities, a nicer interior, and some extra amenities like bath products and a Cloud9 branded robe to wear. Note that you do not get any free spa services like a facial or massage, just access to things like the thermal spa and sauna. Havana Cabin. Havana cabins are similar to Family Harbor cabins. These cabins give you access to the restricted Havana area in the stern of the ship on deck 5. This is in the back. Balcony cabins. Balcony cabins offer a private balcony for fresh air and even more room. Cabins are 185 square feet and balconies range from 35 to 100 square feet. The Havana balcony cabins had the biggest balconies at 100 square feet. Suite. The biggest cabins are suites. And balcony sizes are anywhere from 65 to 100 square feet. Cabin sizes ranging from 135 all the way up to 345 square feet for a grand suite. There is a pretty decent sized balcony, but not the biggest. It has the biggest living space of all cabins. This huge walk-in closet and getting ready area. And check out this huge bathroom. There is even a urinal and a huge shower/bathtub. It's huge. Do you know these 10 tips to make the most of your Carnival cruise cabin? I think everyone already knows number 1, but most of you probably do not do number 2.
Who does number 2 work for?
Cruiser? My name is Ruben and I am not a cruise expert, but I'm pretty good at pretending. Tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to take photos and videos when you first get in your cabin. This is because your cabin will never look any better or cleaner than it does right now. You don't have your stuff in there, you haven't been living in there for a week or two, and it looks immaculate and ready for Instagram or TikTok or whatever the cool kids are using today. You do not have to be an influencer, but you probably want to share a picture with your friends and family. Tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to unpack and get settled as soon as possible. There are so many fun things to do on the ship, but on embarkation day, I recommend getting unpacked and settled. This way you have access to all of your belongings. Your clothes don't get any more wrinkly and you just know where everything is. You can also get changed into something nice if you booked a specialty restaurant on embarkation day. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 is that once you are done unpacking, you can maximize space and put that suitcase underneath the bed. Tip number 4. Know that the Panorama only has power outlets by the table and there are no power outlets by the bed. So you might want to bring a long, non-surge protected extension cable. Check the description for what I have bought and used. You can also use this USB port behind the TV to plug stuff in, not just a sexy hat rack. Tip number 5. Speaking of power, when you want more power, bring a 220 volt European or international converter to get even more power outlets. I have seen as many as 4 different styles of power on a cruise cabin, so if you have a few, you can definitely get access to all of that power. Definitely check with your electronics and read the description label if it will accept either voltage. Tip number 6, bring a nightlight. This makes it easier to see the room even when it's dark. Even though the Panorama added motion sensor nightlights, you have to be close enough, and when I get out of bed, they don't turn on yet. Are you an expert cruiser? Are you an expert cruiser? Let me know what your best cabin tip is in the comments below. Tip number 7, bring a hang-up toiletry bag for your bathroom. It stores everything nice and neatly in there, making it really easy to share space with another human and just to pack and unpack. Tip number 8, in the showers, there is this line that you can hang clothes from. Tip number 9, speaking of hanging things, bring some magnetic hooks. I use them to hang up my lanyard, my clothes, and even the do not disturb sign. Tip number 10, there is a cooler that you can shove all kinds of cool stuff in.
I put my little wellness shots and I have some avocado toast in here.
I will bring desserts from the buffet and keep them cool here. Just know that this is not a refrigerator, just a cooler. Was this video helpful for you? Then check out this next video. The food on Carnival Cruises is one of the best parts of sailing. But which restaurants are worth your time and which ones should you skip? On the Carnival Panorama, there are 10 free included restaurants and 14 paid specialty restaurants for a combined total of 36 different food offerings. I ate at all of them, so I can rank them from worst to first to create the ultimate food guide for you. Oh, and sprinkled throughout are some game-changing tips that even seasoned diamond pros don't know about. These will change how you approach the food on the Panorama. Now stay to the end to find out about this secret, hidden restaurant that only true insiders know about. Because, well, you can't even see it without a reservation. My name is Ruben and I love food and cruising on Carnival while sharing my tips and adventures with all of you. The first thing you need to know about is that there are 2 main categories of food on the Carnival Panorama. The first category are the included restaurants. These are free or included with your cruise fare, meaning that there is no additional charge to eat here. I highly recommend checking out all of these free or included restaurants first before even thinking about the other category, which are the paid specialty restaurants. Many first-time cruisers make the mistake of thinking that a restaurant is extra so they skip it, or they do not realize that it's extra and spend money that they did not budget for. But you're not gonna make that mistake because, well, you're watching this video and you are subscribed to my channel. Wink. Oh, and if this is your first time on the Carnival Panorama, check out this playlist with everything that you need to know about the ship, including where to find all of these restaurants. Let's rank all the included restaurants first. There are 10 included restaurants that are free of charge and will not cost any extra money to eat at. Many of these places serve different food at different times of day. For example, in the main dining restaurant, or MDR, they have breakfast, sea day brunch, tea time, dinner, and an elegant night dinner, totaling 5 different offerings. And I am not even counting the fact that every single night the MDR has a different menu. So while you might hate one night, you might love another night's menu. Pro tip, use the Carnival Hub app to look at all the menus for all of the restaurants, including the MDR. There are a total of 22 free or included food offerings on the Panorama. Let's rank all of them first. Pro tip, many of these food offerings are only available at limited times and on certain days. I'm gonna do my best to let you know about this, but different ships may have different schedules and availabilities, so when you get on, check the Hub app for your specific sailing. Breakfast buffet. The breakfast buffet comes in dead last because it is the worst of both worlds. You have less options than you do eating breakfast at the MDR, and the quality isn't quite as good. The only reason I eat here is if I want a quick bite to eat and I know that the buffet will have what I want. Fun fact, there are technically 2 breakfast buffet options. There is a continental breakfast that opens a little earlier, and then you've got your normal buffet breakfast. Both options are available every day on your cruise except for embarkation day because, well, you don't get on the ship until later on in the morning at the earliest. Lunch buffet. Just like the breakfast buffet, the lunch buffet isn't all that great, but it's still a little bit better. There are many other tastier food options for lunch. The one reason that I will eat here for lunch is when I'm trying to eat healthier and Fresh Creations is not open that day. Don't know what Fresh Creations is? Stay tuned to find out what that is and where it ranks on this list. Also, if you want my full guide to eating healthy on a cruise ship, check out that video here. MDR breakfast. Coming in next is the MDR breakfast. Many first-time cruisers do not know that you can come here for a nice, quiet sit-down breakfast. The quality and options of breakfast is better than the buffet, but overall still isn't anything earth-shattering. One great tip is that on Debarkation Day, you can come here for breakfast for that relaxed atmosphere where you can hang out for a little bit before leaving. Pro tip, you will need to check in on the Hub app to dine here. So do yourself a favor and check in while you are still in your cabin before walking all the way down here. You will get a notification when your table is ready, and it will also tell you where to go to deck 3 or 4. Room service. So the food quality and options are much less than you get from the MDR or the buffet. So why is it ranked higher? Convenience. Some days you just want to stay in bed or go out to your balcony and enjoy breakfast without going anywhere. Carnival's Continental Breakfast is also the only room service option that is still included without an extra charge. And that's why room service breakfast gets a bump up on this list. Want to know where paid room service ranks? Well, stay tuned to find out. Midnight buffet. Did you know that you can get midnight snacks at the buffet on your Carnival cruise? While it's not a full-on buffet, you do have a decent amount of midnight snack options that range from yuck to okay. They are open every day from 11:30 p.m. to around 2:30 a.m. From midnight to 2:30 a.m., this is the only place that you can get free food on the ship.
Please follow and share.
Thank you.
Midnight pizza. Okay, technically this pizza option is part of the midnight buffet, but I rank it separately because some people have mistaken it for the other pizza option, Pizzeria del Capitano. They are also not the same pizzas. The midnight buffet pizza option is what Carnival calls a Chicago-style deep dish pizza. When this first came out in 2025, the reviews were pretty bad. But when I tried it, I thought it was okay. Not as good as Pizzeria del Capitano, as you'll find out later. Dinner buffet. Up next is the dinner buffet. You might be sensing a pattern that the buffet options rank consistently lower, and that's right. In terms of food quality, more often than not, the buffet is not as good as the MDR counterpart, even though there is a lot of overlap in the dishes that they serve. Even though the food is prepared the same, when you get a single serving, plated meal, it feels nicer, and to me, it tastes better and makes for a more enjoyable meal and experience. However, the quality is not that bad, and there are often some great finds that you can get here that you can't get at the MDR. You also cannot beat the convenience when you just want a quick meal so you can get to a show or some other ship fun. Even though the dinner buffet is open every night, the menu changes every day and is also not listed in the Hub app. Although, you can get an idea of what they might serve when you look at the MDR menu. MDR dinner. I think you will know that I usually prefer the MDR over the buffet. Being able to sit down, have someone wait on you, and getting a nicely plated dish is so nice. Plus, there are some dishes that you cannot get at the buffet that you can get here at the MDR, like lobster, escargot, baked Alaska, and more. Remember that every night, most of the menu changes. There are a few things that are available every day, and these are listed in the menu under every day. So if you aren't sure what to get, try the item that is not available every day because, well, you can always get that tomorrow. Remember that if you have anytime dining, you need to check in on the Hub app. I also use the Hub app to look through the dining menus every night to see what's on the menu and figure out which night I want to do specialty dining instead of the MDR. For a few more tips on dining in the MDR, check out this video here, Blue Iguana Breakfast. If you fancy some Mexican for breakfast, remember that you can come here for breakfast, burritos, arepas, and huevos rancheros. They're pretty good. Muy bueno. Tea time. Even if you're not British and don't drink tea, one must try is tea time. This is usually from 3 to 4 on sea days in the afterback MDR on deck 4. Sometimes this place gets packed, and other times it's pretty empty. Either way, there are some fun finger foods and tea to enjoy. The basic teas are included or free, and the specialty teas are an extra charge unless you have one of the Cheers beverage packages. Blue Iguana Lunch. For lunch, there are a bunch of amazing fast casual options, and one of those is Mexican at Blue Iguana. You can get tacos or burritos and help yourself to the Fixins bar. Bagel breakfast at Pizzeria del Capitano. A very exciting addition to the Carnival fleet is morning bagels. I was fortunate enough to be on the very first sailing where they offered this on the Panorama. You can find it at the pizza place on deck 10 aft, or the back. They've got some amazing bagel options if you want something a little bit different for breakfast, and they are open every morning. D-Day brunch. While breakfasts at both the buffet and MDR are not nearly as good as their lunch and dinner counterparts, C-Day brunch is the shining star with some dishes that you cannot get any other day. I love the steak and eggs, 7-layer chocolate cake, among others. C-Day brunch is only available on C-Days, and their times are different than breakfast in the MDR. Normally it is from 8:30 to 12 p.m. and make sure you use the Hub app to check in because the wait times can get pretty crazy. Lido Deli. The next fast casual lunch option is the Lido Deli. Located in a Lido buffet, they offer both hot and cold sandwiches that are pretty tasty. They are open every day and they actually have longer hours than almost any other restaurant from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. so you can get your sandwich fix almost any time of day. Gigi's Lunch. Gigi's is normally a specialty restaurant where you have to pay, but at lunch, you can come here for free and they are open every day. You select your options on a piece of paper and it's a great way to get a little Asian taste for lunch. Now stay tuned to find out where the paid restaurant version of this ranks. Cucina del Capitano Lunch. The other specialty restaurant that offers a free lunch is Cucina del Capitano. Similar to Gigi's, you do have to pay for dinner, but lunch is a la carte where you can select what you want and it is cooked made to order. Both restaurants are very popular, so be prepared to wait in line, even though they are totally worth it. Swirls. This is for you ice cream lovers. Even though this is part of the Lido buffet, it's listed separately on the Carnival website, so I'm gonna do the same. You can get a few different ice cream and yogurt options. I love putting some ice cream in my coffee. Another hack that I've heard about is to mix lemonade with vanilla to make a little lemonade smoothie. Elegant dinner. Okay, let's go back to the MDR for dinner, but this is a special dinner. These are known as elegant nights, where we get all fancy and dolled up for that dinner that is a little more elegant and nice than your usual dinner in the MDR. On sailings 6 days or longer, you can get lobster. Fresh creations. With so many fried and sugary options, sometimes our stomachs just need a break, and Fresh Creations is the perfect fix to provide some healthy, fresh options with salad made to order to eat at Serenity Lounge. The only drawback to this place is that they are only open for a couple hours on sea days. Now, if Fresh Creations is more your style, check out my guide to healthy eating on a Carnival cruise ship here. Pizzeria del Capitano. Pizza is always a crowd favorite on Carnival ships, and that is no exception on the Panorama. You have a few different options for this thin sliced pizza that is always tasty. And if you want to expand your topping selection, grab some things at the buffet and bring them with you to make your own. If it's been a while since you've cruised on Carnival, know that they close at midnight now. Sad face. Pig and Anchor Barbecue. Guy's Pig and Anchor Barbecue. While Guy's Pig and Anchor is hit or miss on some other ships, I've always found that their free barbecue option to be consistently good on the Panorama. This included or free option is only available on embarkation and sea days, so make sure you get here early as the line gets pretty long now that this secret is out. Honorable mention. Even though it's part of the lunch buffet, you need to check out the gelato because it was amazing. It's included and it's only available during lunch for a select few hours. I personally think it's better than swirls. Guy's Burger. And the reigning champion is Guy's Burger. More often than not, if you talk to a Carnival fan, they love Guy's Burger, and that's for good reason. They're just so good. Order a burger how you want, and there's also a topping bar that you can further customize. If you haven't tried it yet, go get a toasted pretzel bun from the Lido Deli and make your own pretzel burger. This is part 2, where I will rank all the additional fee or specialty restaurants. Oh, and sprinkled throughout are some game-changing tips that even seasoned Diamond pros don't know about that will change how you approach food on the Carnival Panorama. Plus, stay to the end to find out about this secret hidden restaurant that only true insiders know about because, well, you can't even see it or get in there without a reservation. My name is Ruben and I love food and cruising on Carnival while sharing my tips and adventures with all of you. The first thing you need to know about is that there are 2 main categories of food on the Carnival Panorama. The first category are the included restaurants. These are free or included with your cruise fare, meaning that there is no additional charge to eat here. There are 14 paid or specialty dining restaurants on the Carnival Panorama. Many of them have complimentary or free dining. Check out this playlist with reviews of the other restaurants on board the Carnival Panorama, along with part 1 of this video. Java Blue. Let's start with Java Blue, not because it's the worst, but because it's mainly for drinks and the desserts. Along with your coffee fix, you can also get all kinds of other drinks, smoothies, desserts, and even spiked coffee. One tip from Leanne Millay is to get a punch card where you can earn a free smoothie after purchasing 8 drinks. And if the line gets too long, you can also get specialty coffee from Ocean Plaza and Havana bars. Dr. Seuss Breakfast. This is a pseudo honorable mention because not everyone is going to want to come here. If you're not sure if this place is for you, you can check out my full review here. Potato Tornado. Another brand new addition to the Carnival food portfolio are these potato tornadoes that you can get at Seafood Jack. They are okay, and I probably wouldn't get them again because even though the seasoning was good, it kept falling off. Empanadas. Another a la carte item that I was not a huge fan of were the empanadas. While the quality of the food was good, I personally just was not a fan of the flavors other than the Nutella dessert option. Blue Iguana Wings. One item that I loved on the other ships was the wings, especially on the Firenze. However, when I got them here at Blue Iguana, they took way longer to come out and just didn't have the same kind of flavor as they did on the Firenze. Paid room service. Up next is room service. It is paid because, well, almost all of the items on room service do come with a charge. I heard that the burgers are pretty amazing, so I wanted to try one. Wow, okay, yes, these burgers are pretty delicious. Now, they are different than Guy's burgers. They are more like your traditional burger, and they are still really good. But I'm gonna rely on all of you. Where would you rank it compared to all the others? And would you change any of my other rankings? Let me know in the comments below. Bonsai teppanyaki. If you love teppanyaki on land, you will love it at sea.
The grill! The grill! The grill is on fire!
They have these same chef's tricks.
Oh!
People trying to catch shrimp. And the food is great. I do think it is a little overpriced, but a great way to save money is to book lunch instead. Seafood Shack. If you are a seafood lover, then you absolutely need to check out Seafood Shack. They have some great options, from crab cakes to lobster rolls to this seafood platter. They are open every evening and night, but their hours do vary. I love that they are a la carte, so you can grab a one-off item for a snack. Gigi's Asian Kitchen. If you want a full-on Asian meal, Gigi's Asian Kitchen is the must-try spot. For only $22, you get so much delicious food that this is definitely worth it. Pig and Anchor Brewhouse. While a lot of people come here for the locally brewed beer and amazing Bloody Marys, I love their food. They are a la carte, so you can come for dessert or grab some food as an appetizer before heading somewhere else. I rank this higher than Gigi's really because I feel more people will resonate with the barbecue, and it's nice being able to eat a la carte. Cucina del Capitano. Across from Gigi's is Cucina del Capitano. These two are the hidden gems of the Carnival Panorama. They are tucked away on deck 11 above the Lido buffet. If you love Italian, you need to check this place out. I would come here just for the bread alone. And if you book it on the first day, you get a free bottle of wine, and you can potentially get 20% off. Stay tuned for an even better tip that goes along with that. I actually came back multiple times because it was so good and such a great deal at only $22. Bonsai Sushi. Another great fast casual option is Bonsai Sushi. But don't let the name fool you. They have so much more than just sushi, and their staff and servers are amazing. One of the reasons I ate here on each of my 3 sailings while compiling these reviews is because it's so good. A game-changing tip is that they will sell the same filet mignon that you can get at Bonsai Teppanyaki for only $10. Fahrenheit 555. Coming in at number 2 is Fahrenheit 555 Steakhouse, but it easily can be number 1 once you factor the price in. I've eaten at a lot of high-end steakhouses on land, and Fahrenheit is definitely up there. While it is not ultra high-end with your fancy A5 Wagyu or your longer dry-aged steaks, they do serve USDA prime-aged steaks that are pretty dang good. My favorite is the ribeye. Their bread is amazing, and what really separates Fahrenheit are their appetizers and desserts that could steal the show themselves. Now, even some experienced diamond cruisers do not know that if you book this on the first day, you can get 20% off. Then, once you get on the ship, change your reservation to another day and you can still keep that 20% off. This tip also applies to some of the other specialty restaurants like Cucina. Just don't tell anyone else that I told you about this. Chef's Table. My all-time favorite restaurant is hands down the Chef's Table. You haven't heard about it? Well, that's because this is a secret, hidden restaurant that you cannot even walk into unless you have it booked. And there are only a maximum of 14 seats each night. This ultra exclusive restaurant serves a 3-hour, 13-course journey into foodie heaven that also includes a behind-the-scenes tour of the galley. Want to know where all the bars on the Carnival Panorama are? Let me show you. My name is Ruben, and I love food and cruising on Carnival while sharing my tips and adventures with all of you.
Ropers assemble!
While I am not a huge drinker, I do like getting an adult beverage every now and then, and I wanted to show you where all the bars are on the Carnival Panorama. So come on, let's get started with where we first get on the ship. This is the Atrium Bar, located towards the front of the ship on deck 3. This, by the way, is a great meeting spot with all of these chairs. This is a perfect first bar if you are doing a bar crawl like a roper romp. Now let's go up one deck to deck 4 and check out the liquid lounge bar. That's all the way forward. This bar is only open where there are shows going on, so you might want to skip it on a bar crawl. Now let's head towards the back of the ship and let's walk through the casino to get to the Heroes Bar. FYI, I've seen a lot of back and forth about Drinks on Us or DOUE from the casino. I asked 2 different food and beverage directors on different ships to get the official answer. And that is that Drinks on Us is not supposed to be honored at any bar, including Heroes. Now that's the official answer. However, I do know many people who have gotten this, so it never hurts to ask. By the way, the Panorama is the only ship sailing out of Long Beach that still has an electronic poker table. So if you are sitting here and playing and a casino host comes by, sometimes you can still get free drinks. Okay, let's keep heading back towards the Limelight Lounge. That's where there are comedy shows or the nightclub, and there is a little pop-up bar here. Now, let's head up the aft stairs to deck 5 and go all the way to the very back, to the Havana Bar. There are 2 bars here. One exclusively that's only for people staying in a Havana cabin, and on the other side, on the inside, this is open to everyone. Fun fact, they also have a coffee machine here, so you can get your Irish coffees. Not too far forward on deck 5 is the Plaza Bar, which also has a coffee machine. Now, let's not forget about Java Blue Cafe, which is right here where you can get your adult coffees and smoothies. Just in front of Java Blue Cafe is Guy's Pig and Anchor Brewhouse. They serve the best Bloody Marys here. Oh my goodness, check out all this bacon. A little farther forward is the Alchemy Bar, which is my personal favorite bar on the ship because these mixologists are able to make you anything that they want. They do not have to follow the strict official policies on how they mix your drinks, and they can whip you up almost anything. Now here is Bonsai Sushi, where it's not quite a bar, but there are some drinks that you can only get here that you can't get anywhere else. Similarly, right next door is Fahrenheit 555 Steakhouse. Now there is a bar here that is only open during restaurant hours, and you do not need a dining reservation to come here. They also have some unique spirits that are not available at the other bars as well. Right next door to Fahrenheit is the Piano Bar. Now, that's it for the inside bars. Let's take an elevator up to our next bar. Oh, and remember that before you get in the elevator, you need to press that button for your deck before you get in the elevator, or you'll end up playing elevator roulette. Now, up on top at deck 15, at the bow or front of the ship, is the Serenity Bar, which is inside the Serenity Adults Only 21 and Up area. Heading after towards the back of the ship, we go down to deck 10. Oh, but first, let's stop at deck 11. On embarkation day only, there's a little pop-up bar where you can get drinks here. This is the main Lido deck area where we have both Blue Iguana Tequila Bar and the Red Frog Rum Bar on opposite sides of the ship. These are great areas for meet and greets, especially on embarkation day because, well, everyone likes to come up here for sail away parties. Now heading aft all the way to the stern or back of the ship on deck 10 is our last bar, Tides Bar. Now I want to know which bar is your favorite and why. Let me know in the comments before checking out this next video. Worst mistakes on a Carnival cruise and what to do instead. Here are the 3 biggest cruise mistakes that might ruin your vacation and potentially your life. Okay, maybe I am over dramatizing, but I did just get back from a cruise where I had some insider information and witnessed something that will negatively impact these people for months, if not years after they get home. Now, I do not want to scare you, but I want to prepare you. So here are 3 of the biggest cruise mistakes that could potentially ruin your vacation. My name is Ruben and I love cruising on Carnival and sharing my tips and adventures with all of you. I have almost 100 days at sea just with Carnival and want to make sure that your next Carnival cruise is your best one ever. Mistake number 1, the TBD cabin gamble. All right, let's dive into the number 1 mistake that could ruin your vacation before it even starts. Booking a TBD or guaranteed cabin. Booking a guaranteed or TBD or to be determined cabin. Yes, the discount looks tempting, but are you prepared for the trade-off? You are giving Carnival full control to place you in the leftover cabins that no one else wanted. This could be the cabin right next to the arcade with kids running around screaming. It could be right below the Lido deck where you will be woken up to chairs dragging around and scraping before the sun comes up. Or right next to the nightclub where you're doof, 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 doof. Or it could be a cabin at the very top that only has one elevator to get to and you have to wait literally hours to get to your cabin on embarkation day. Now here's the thing, these are leftover cabins for a reason. Cruising experts know which cabins they like and why they pick them, as well as which cabins they do not like. Are you ready for my controversial statement that I get a lot of flack for? These TBD cabins are also the first in line if Carnival overbooks the cruise and needs to kick someone off. Is this likely to happen? No. Could it happen? Yes. And you are the first in line to get the boot. Now, Carnival is definitely better than other cruise lines, and I've heard others such as Royal will do this a lot more than Carnival. I actually think it is very, very rare, less than 1%, if not lower chance of this happening to you. However, I just want to throw it out there as something that might happen just so you're aware of it, especially if this is your first cruise and you are probably only going to do one, maybe every several years. Now, both myself and a lot of other expert cruisers will book these TBD cabins. However, that is because we know exactly what we were signing up for and the gamble we are taking. Sometimes it pays off and we get a lucky upgrade. Other times we get stuck in a cabin that we do not enjoy. Now, if this is your first Carnival cruise and you have been waiting years just for this one vacation, do yourself a favor and spend a few extra dollars and a few extra minutes doing some research to figure out which cabin you actually want and will enjoy. All Carnival ships have deck plans that you can look through. An easy cheat code is to find a cabin that is surrounded on all sides by either another cabin or nothing. Above, below, left, right, and across. Higher cabins are worse for seasickness as well as those more forward or aft. Now, if quiet is more your thing, look for the very front or back cabins because more people wander around the middle section. You're less likely to have people walking around. Mistake number 2, missing your ship. I'm going to wrap up a few mistakes into one umbrella mistake, and that is missing your cruise ship. This can happen when you are late arriving to the ship on embarkation day or coming back from a port visit. Either way, the results can be disastrous. Not only for you, but this negatively impacts the thousands of other passengers and crew on board the ship. On embarkation day, the biggest mistake I see are people not planning ahead for contingencies and delays. Just last week, I was on a sailing where many people actually missed their entire cruise because of severe weather storm delays impacting air travel. Their flights were canceled and they had no way to get to the port. So if you are flying into port, the biggest tip is to fly in at least the day before. Now, if you are cruising during winter, 2 days might even be essential in case there are these severe winter storm delays. Now, if that seems excessive, that's because the consequences can be worse. And I will get to that more in mistake number 3. The other sub-mistake is to get back to the ship too late on port day. You might have seen those viral videos of pier runners racing to catch their ship only to be left with only their swimsuits. If you miss the ship, you can't just call an Uber to catch up. The options are to figure out how to meet up with your ship at the next port, or maybe just get back to the ship's home port. And because most ports are not in the US, this will require international travel, which as a pro tip is why so many travel agents recommend traveling with a passport even if only a birth certificate is required. Now, imagine having to do all of this arrangements and adjusting in only a bikini because all of your belongings are still on the ship. Of course, it sucks to be the one left behind and stranded, but that is also a selfish perspective. There are maybe 5,000 or more other people that all get affected when this happens on a cruise ship. The ship can be stuck in port waiting, which means that guests cannot play in the casino. They might get charged tax on drinks. Some things might not open up, and everything affects the crew members' schedules. So that hour delay for you might mean 2,000 workers have to work an extra hour or more because they can't do a crew turnover. Mistake number 3, skipping travel insurance. The third and biggest mistake is thinking that travel insurance is an optional expense. Please don't do it. Now, here are 3 reasons why. Your cruise is a major investment, and going without insurance is like betting it all on red. What happens if you get sick right before? There's a family emergency, or even a freak snowstorm that cancels your flight. Without insurance, all of the money that you have paid, poof, just vanishes. Remember those people earlier who missed their cruise because of that winter storm? I have also read really sad stories of people who lost their loved ones days or weeks before a cruise and were not able to go. Because they did not purchase cruise insurance, they were out of the thousands of dollars that they paid for their cruise fare. And yes, it is absolutely heartbreaking for this to happen. Unfortunately, it happens so often that cruise lines just cannot make excuses for this, especially when the solution is so simple and preventative: cancellations. One thing to know about insurance is that different plans cover different things. Most insurance will cover cancellations, but only for specific reasons. That might include sickness or travel delays. However, make sure you read the fine print, because one thing that I have seen trip up cruisers is when they need to cancel for a reason that is not in their policy. And I'll get to this a little bit later. You're then back to being on the hook for losing potentially thousands of dollars. Because I travel a lot for work, I will often get booked on last-minute trips. So for me, having a cancel for any reason coverage is amazing because I get 75% back. I've already used this once, and it is something I will always book for my cruises. Finally, the biggest reason to get travel insurance is for the medical coverage. Did you know that a medical evacuation at sea could easily sail past 50 grand? In one of my last sailings, there was a medical emergency that came up, and there was so much back and forth, all related to payment and things about that nature. Now, I do have some insider information, but I do not know all the details. So what I'm going to describe is what I think happened, not necessarily the facts. I am guessing that this passenger did not have travel insurance and did not have a way to pay for medical transport, even though they had a potentially life-threatening injury. So they chose to get back on the ship instead of getting transported to the hospital and risk potentially dying, all because they did not spend the extra few dollars on travel insurance. Another nightmare that I have heard of are tens, if even hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical bills piling up because they might have had to get a medical evacuation, which is super expensive. Now, the fix is easy. Always buy travel insurance. Now, I'm not sponsored by any company specifically, but let me know in the comments who you have been using, and if you're curious who I use, I will let you know in the comments below. Now, in any case, shop around and look at the different policies. Most importantly, to look at the coverage limits. Now, this is one area where I never go with Carnival's default insurance and always buy third party. This is because you spend less money and you get more coverage for your cost. And it just buys you peace of mind. Okay, I know this was a little bit of a heavier video, and a lot of you know that I like to keep things positive. But I wanted to prevent all of you from making any of these mistakes that might ruin your vacation or your life. So let's get back to cruising fun by watching this next video here. You're going on your first Carnival cruise on the Radiance, Frenzy, or Panorama. How exciting! If you are anything like me, you have watched a ton of YouTube videos before your first cruise to prepare yourself, and there is still one thing that you're not sure about, and that's getting off the ship. Don't worry, this video is going to show you everything that you need to know and be your ultimate guide to debarkation for Carnival cruise ships sailing out of Long Beach. My name is Ruben. I love cruising on Carnival while sharing my tips and adventures with all of you. I have more than 200 days sailing on Carnival all out of Long Beach. I am on the Radiance, Frenzy, and Panorama constantly. And now that I've earned the highest status of Diamond, I want to share with you everything that I have learned about debarking on more than 30 cruises and lots of chats with Carnival crew and their officers.
Whatever you do, travel safely.
I want you to have the certainty to feel more comfortable getting on the ship because you will know exactly how to get off the ship. Now watch to the end for a cheat code that even many diamond cruisers don't know about. What is debarkation and other terms? Before we get started, let me explain a few terms that you will need to know before you get on the ship. Embarkation. This is the process of getting on the ship. Your first day is often called embarkation day. Bow. This is the very front of the ship. Fore or forward. This is facing the front of the ship. Aft. Facing the back of the ship. Stern. The actual back of the ship. Port. The left side of the ship. Starboard. The right side of the ship. Now, two things that might help you remember is that port has 4 letters the same as left. Or you can think PS, port starboard. Left, right. Gangway, the movable walkway used to get off the ship. One important thing to note is that you will use the gangway on deck 0 to get off the ship while you are in a port like Ensenada, Cabo, or Catalina Island. This is not where you exit the ship on the last day, however. Debarkation. Speaking of leaving the ship, that process is called debarkation. This is when thousands of guests who have been having the vacation of their life all leave the ship in a matter of hours with all of their luggage and belongings. Another term that you might hear more often with other cruise lines is disembarkation. They both mean the same thing, but Carnival uses the term debarkation more often. Debarkation choices. Now that you know what debarkation is, let me explain the big choice that you will have to make that will dictate exactly what debarkation looks like for you and when you need to get started. That key decision is how you are getting your luggage off the ship. On Carnival, there are 2 options, and your choice dictates how everything else works. The first option is checked debarkation, and the other is called self-assisted or express debarkation. One common question people ask me is, Adam, which debarkation option should I select? First of all, my name's not Adam. Second, it totally depends on what is important to you. Let's break down both choices so you can figure out which option you should pick. The first option is checked luggage debarkation. This is the hands-free option that makes it super easy for you to get off the ship because the porters do all the hard work for you. The night before you debark, you pack up everything you want taken off the ship for you, attach luggage tags to each bag, and put them outside your stateroom door before the deadline. Now this is usually 9 or 10 p.m. If you miss the deadline, you will need to carry everything off yourself. The crew collects your luggage and takes them off the ship for you. On debarkation morning, you take the rest of your personal belongings and exit the ship to collect your belongings at the terminal, just like you would in an airport. The pro to this option is that it's super easy. You barely need to lift a finger and you do not have to worry about navigating the packed hallways and elevators, towing all of your belongings behind you. The 2 cons are that it takes a little bit longer to get off the ship because you have to wait for your luggage, and it also takes some more planning and foresight because your luggage is taken the night before you leave. So you will need to keep your passport or birth certificates, ID, and enough personal belongings to make it through one night and one morning. Carnival's recommended option is doing self-assisted or express debarkation. Now it's called express debarkation for a reason. It is quicker than checked debarkation. The other name for it is self-assisted debarkation because that's what you're doing. You carry all of your luggage and belongings off yourself. That is the important part, is if you choose this option, you need to make sure that you and your party are able to carry all of your belongings off. The crew are not able to assist you in any way. Now, the two pros are that this is the quickest option for getting off the ship. This can be especially handy if you are trying to catch a flight out. The other pro is that you do not need to strategically split your belongings in two with the off chance that you might forget something. That important thing could be like a change of clothes or your documentation. This could seriously disrupt your entire debarkation process. The con is that you are juggling all of your belongings yourself. But stay tuned, because for both options, I'm going to give you a great tip and a shortcut to make debarkation way easier. Selecting debarkation. When everyone in your party knows the debarkation preference you want to use, the Hub app to select your debarkation. Along with this, you are going to select your debarkation time. On the Hub app, look for Digital Debark. If you do not see it, click on the More button on the bottom right, Port Passes, and then Digital Debark. The earlier you decide and set up debarkation in the app, the more options you will have on time slots to choose from. Do you know if you're going to be Team Checked Luggage or Team Express? Let me know in the comments below. Debarkation prep. The real secret to a smooth debarkation is not what you do in the morning. It's how you prep the night before. And this is where you avoid all of the headaches. On your last full day, look for your debarkation instructions. This will contain crucial information for you to know, even though most or all of it you will already know now that you've watched this video. But take a read through just in case something changes or is different. Carnival updates their procedures regularly, so you do not want to be caught off guard. The first part of your debarkation prep will actually have nothing to do with your luggage or bags. This is because you need to check and settle your onboard payment and spending account. If your payment account was a credit or debit card, check your purchases to make sure you do not have any erroneous charges. If you have a cash account, you need to make sure that you have enough money to cover the automatic gratuities. If you did not, your account will be flagged, and security will be meeting you when you try to leave and can disrupt the entire process. Now, if you want more information about onboard purchases and the most important thing you need to know about as a first-time Carnival cruiser, check out this video here. Now, if there are any issues, go to guest services the day before, because it is way easier to take care of these issues now while you are on the ship than during the crazy rush of disembarkation morning, or even when you get off the ship. Now, for the most important part, packing. If you are teamed check luggage, it is time to pack. But wait, before you zip those bags shut, you need to pack your last night carry-on. This may be the most important tip in the whole video. Once your checked luggage is out the door, you won't see it again until you are off the ship. So anything that you need between now and then must stay with you. So what's in this magic bag? First, travel documents. Your passport or birth certificate, ID, and your sail and sign card. Do not pack these in a checked bag. I repeat, do not pack them. Your sail and sign card will be scanned as your final act of leaving the ship. Everything else are all of the items you will need for a full night's stay and anything you need the next morning. This might include medications, valuables, pajamas, a change of clothes, and toiletries. Now, if this tip just saved you from a huge panic attack, please do me a favor and share it with all of your friends who plan ahead and family who need to see this video. It really helps me and my channel with the YouTube algorithm so that other first-time Carnival cruisers can see this video as well and not make this big mistake. The last step of debarkation prep is getting your luggage ready. Once you are done packing, take your luggage tags and fill them out. Attach one luggage tag to each of your bags. I also recommend removing any airline tags or previous luggage tags to remove any confusion. Then, put your luggage outside your cabin before the deadline, which is usually 9 or 10 p.m. Debarkation process. Okay, so you are all ready for the big morning, but now you are wondering what to expect on debarkation morning. No worries, let's walk through the entire morning together. The first thing you need to know is that you need to be completely out of your cabin by 8:30 a.m. This is so that the amazing housekeeping team has time to turn over everything for the next guests. Some of them have as little as 1 hour to turn over the cabin. But before you leave your cabin, I like to do one last sweep and do a dummy check to make sure I've taken everything. You can imagine the things that I've left behind or seen left behind. Check every drawer, the closet, under the bed, in the bathroom. You would be amazed at what gets left behind. Oh, and check the safe. One last time. Before you go rushing off the ship, pause for a second and ask, do I want one last breakfast before I go? If you do, the Lido Buffet is definitely open, but one hidden gem is the main dining restaurant, or MDR. If you want a nice seated breakfast and a place to hang out, this can be a great option. Now remember, there is no crying in baseball. I mean, there is no room service on debarkation morning. Also note that most food places close earlier than every other day, so check the hub app for the times on your ship. Knowing that you need to be out of your cabin by 8:30, here are two breakfast options. One is to get breakfast early enough that you can get back to your cabin and gather everything. The other option is to take all of your belongings with you to breakfast and leave the cabin for good. For both options, what comes next is the waiting game. This is where we get to hang out waiting for our scheduled debarkation to come and our group to get called. Depending on the ship, there are different waiting areas for you to hang out. A lot of them are on deck 4 or 5, as well as the Lido deck on maybe deck 9 or 10. On the Frenzy and Panorama, a great area to wait is the Heroes Bar, because I often do not see many people there and they've got these nice, comfy couches to sit in. Very important. Meet your entire group in the waiting area before heading down. Do not think that you can just meet them at the exit, because you will actually be redirected back to the waiting areas, as that area gets very crowded on debarkation day. Now, while you wait, make sure you stay connected to the ship's Wi-Fi on the hub app, because that will notify you which groups are being called to debark. You will also hear the announcements on the ship's PA. Now, it could be tempting to turn off airplane mode and start checking your messages, but some phones, when you do this, you lose connection to the hub app. And that's when you do not get your messages and won't find out that it is time for you to leave. Fortunately, the hub app team is working very hard with some awesome updates on the way for all of you. Now, it is tempting to want to rush before your group gets called, but the reason they set up groups is to help stagger when people get off. This makes the process as smooth and seamless as possible, and it only works as well as you. Plus, if you are group 30 and try to leave with group 5, your bags probably won't be ready anyway, and you'll just have to stand around in the terminal waiting for your bags anyway. And it is much less comfortable there. Now, once your boarding group is called and you want to make your way to the exit, on Carnival Long Beach ships, such as the Radiance, Frenzy, and Panorama, you will be debarking or exiting on deck 3 forward through the atrium. Important info. Here are a few important things to know. The elevators on debarkation day get jam-packed, so bring your patience with you. Know your ship's layout. For the Radiance, Frenzy, and Panorama, do not take the elevator down to deck 3 in the back or after the ship, because you will not be able to walk all the way forward to get to the exit. On the Radiance, you will need to walk forward on any deck except for decks 3 and 4. On the Frenzy and Panorama, decks 1, 2, and 4 through 10 will take you to the forward or middle elevator. Sometimes it's actually easier to go to deck 2 and go up than it is to try to go down. Now you need to have your sail and sign card to leave the ship. That's right. So keep it with you and have it ready to be scanned when leaving. Fun fact, each ship does things a little bit differently and processes are updated all the time. So even if you did it a specific way the last cruise, it might be changing this time. Also, if you are lucky enough to be on a special charter cruise like Cali Country or Old School Cruise, they do things a little bit differently. So always listen to the announcements and read the debarkation paper.
Ciao.
Another great source of information is the debarkation presentation, and some ships even have it playing on repeat on the TVs. Now, if you want the freshest and most up-to-date information, or you have a question, well, stay tuned and I'll tell you exactly who to ask. Wheelchair assistance. If you are not able to debark on your own, you may ask for wheelchair assistance. The debarkation information will tell you where the meeting point for this is. You will check in and wait for a crew member to bring a wheelchair and wheel you off. Something very important for you to know is that you or someone else in your party will need to take your luggage off. The crew are not able to assist you with that, and you are not allowed to put your luggage on your lap and have them push you, unless it is a small personal bag. So if you need assistance with luggage, please use the checked luggage option and only bring a small personal bag with you. Now, if you need assistance getting to the meeting area on the morning of, please call room service in advance so that they can help make arrangements for you. Terminal expectations. You made it. You are back on land. Just 2 more steps. If you are team self-assist, you are way ahead of the game. Walk back the way you came and head towards the customs line. When you first get in the terminal, there is an elevator here to the left if you need. If you checked your luggage, your first stop is this massive baggage claim hallway where you get to on the first floor. Look for the signs for your luggage tag number and look for your luggage. Now, whether you brought your own luggage or you checked your luggage, there are porters available to help you bring your luggage the last few steps. Fun fact, if you see a huge line at customs, this is actually a great cheat code to bypass that huge line because porters have their own separate line. Just remember to tip them well. Now, the final step is Customs and Border Protection, or CBP. When you get here, you will see 2 lines. One is for passports and the other is for birth certificates. If you opted in for facial recognition, you will get scanned, and it's usually an easy green light and off you go. Most guests simply walk through facial recognition in customs unless they have items that they need to declare. Know that as the day progresses, the birth certificate line gets exponentially longer than the passport line. This is one more reason I recommend traveling with a passport if you can. Cheat codes. If you are wondering how crazy things get when you have 5,000 people all trying to leave the ship in a single file line with all their luggage in the span of a couple hours, you are probably right to think that things are going to be a little bit chaotic. So I'm going to give you 4 cheat codes. Each one gets progressively better, and well, the last one is amazing. The first cheat code is to leave as soon as possible. While you will still have a little bit of traffic, it is way less hectic. The second cheat code is to leave as late as possible. Let the huge mass of people leave first while you relax, have breakfast, and chill before leaving. Just make sure that you leave when they make the final call, because there is a ton of work for all of the crew to get ready for their next sailing in a matter of minutes. The third cheat code is that even cruisers with the highest status of diamond don't know, is that if you are not sure what to do or have a question, ask a Fun Squad member, not guest services. This is because they are the boots on the ground directing traffic and making everything happen on disembarkation day.
Good morning, Firenze family, and welcome to your Debarkation highway. This morning, we do ask all our travelers to please have their room key in their hand, ready to be scanned by security up ahead. Your room key is able to stay in that plastic sleeve. We just ask that the barcode is showing. If you have any junior cruisers traveling in your party today, we do ask the adult cruisers to scan off first, followed by our junior cruisers second. And lastly, do not worry if you've lost your room key. Just let security know your cabin number and then you'll be good to go. Whatever you do, travel safely. My name is Jaden, part of your incredible entertainment team on board. If you liked me, I'm here till September. If you didn't like me, my name is Steven, and we'll see you in October. Ciao.